Are you feeling low, grumpy, irritable, depressed? Are you having thoughts that are going quite dark? Maybe even tipping towards the point of suicidal thoughts where you just think, life would be easier if I just weren't here. What is the point? Or you just have no energy, you're tired, you're lethargic, and your brain feels the same way, where you feel like there's a black cloud hanging over you. Do you feel angry sometimes? You just have this rage and you are losing it with your family members. You don't want them to be near you. If you said yes to any of this, if you resonate with any of this, and you're over 40, this is the video for you. I would like to propose in this video that possibly what you are feeling could be due to low hormones, and it could be perimenopause and or the oncoming menopause. And I want to refer you to a video. I will link to it in the description box below. It is the Louise Newson podcast. Now, Louise Newson, if you haven't heard of her, she's a British doctor and she specializes in menopause and hormone replacement therapy. She is on YouTube. So like I said, I will link to her podcast below. And I listened to this podcast and my heart broke. It was all about a woman who tried to self-harm. She was on the verge of suicide and they were giving her antidepressants and nothing was working. She was hospitalized and her husband was a doctor. And yet no one could figure out what was wrong with her. But somehow, I think her husband finally sort of clicked that it could be her hormones. And when she went on hormone replacement therapy, she came out of her funk. The light came back on in her life and she came out of this deep, dark depression. I encourage you to listen to it. And it really touched me because I've been almost there. Not quite to the point of suicide, but I'm 45 now and I have been experiencing slowly getting more and more perimenopausal symptoms. So from 40 onwards, at 40 I had my first night sweat and then didn't happen again for a while. And then slowly, as the years have rolled by, my perimenopausal symptoms have ramped up. And this year, 2023, has been like my big year for symptoms, night sweats and mood, low energy, brain fog, joint aches and pains. And so this year I really felt it, but I have felt it in previous years, that low mood, depression, when you've got nothing to be depressed about, when life is actually good, everything's going well, and yet on the inside you are just, your brain is just saying, no, I don't want to be here. What if I just weren't here? Life would be so much easier if I just offed myself. And sometimes, it's hard to remember now because I'm on HRT. So now my mood has lifted. But I do remember, I just have to go back into that feeling. Come, Yogi. Come. There's my dog. Come. When I put myself back into that feeling, those dark days, that depression, hey, boy, my heart breaks for me. And it definitely breaks for you if you can resonate with this. And the thing is, no one talks about the link between mental health and menopause. And it doesn't have to be menopause itself. You don't have to enter menopause to feel this way. You can feel this level of darkness during perimenopause. And I know because I've been there. I've been there. Days when I just didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to get up off the couch. Days when I was like, what is the point? What is the point? And then my poor kid would come home, of course, from school and all, like children are bouncy and happy and chatty. And I would just be like, I would try and be patient and try and respond with love and dig deep. But sometimes the irritation, words would fly out of my mouth that I'm not proud of, that I regret. The tone of my voice would be wrong. Of course, children need direction, guidance, and boundaries, and you need to be firm. So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I had to be always mushy and loving with him at inappropriate times. But sometimes my reaction was disproportionate to what he was doing. And that's when I knew like, this is not on, this is not right. And, when everything irritates you, even sometimes your clothes, the labels, the itchiness of the labels make you, drives you insane. That's when you know. So if your mental state has become dark, angry, negative, black cloud, whatever you want to call it. Anxiety, that's another one. I don't experience it as anxiety, but I've heard millions of reports on YouTube, and I've read so many blogs and websites and books. If you're anxious and you're just feeling not yourself, and yet you used to be fine, you used to be generally optimistic, you used to be able to cope with life. If that is you and you're now over 40, 41, 42, 45, 47, close to 50, and your mental state has changed and you're not coping, I urge you, this is the point of this video, I urge you to consider getting your hormone levels tested. Check both your estrogen and progesterone, and if you want to, also your testosterone, just to make sure and rule out thyroid problems. You can test your thyroid because so many women over 40 do suffer with low thyroid. I'm one of them. But I urge you to check your hormones because it is now becoming more and more known. It's not well known enough, which is why I'm making this video. But hormones can affect your mental state. And I am testament to that because I have experienced that for myself. So I urge you, number one, go and get your hormone levels checked and tested. And number two, try hormone replacement therapy. Try estrogen in some form. You can use the birth control pill. I've made videos on that. I will link to all those videos down below, that whole playlist of my perimenopausal and hormonal journey. You can try estrogen gels. You can try estrogen rings, patches. There are options. You do need to find a doctor or a gynae who's willing to work with you and prescribe for you. And you do need to be willing to advocate for yourself. And I know that the problem is when you're feeling low, it's hard to advocate for yourself. It's hard to even mentally pick yourself up off the couch, out of your darkness, and even go for a blood test. I get it. But I'm telling you now, it is worth it, and you deserve it, and you are worth it. Please love yourself enough, believe in yourself. Take it from me. I was in a funk that the darkest moods would come across me, and if it weren't for my son, I honestly would have felt that this world would have been better off without me. That's going to make me teary. And I know it's not the truth. And it's not the truth for you either. The world needs you. Your children need you. Your loved ones need you. Whoever it is in your life that is around you, they need you. And you owe it to them. But most importantly, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to feel better. You deserve it. You deserve to try this route. I'm not saying that all cause of depression over 40 is hormones. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that hormones are the fix for everything, but it just could be. There's a chance that it is because they do play such a role. There's such a strong link between estrogen and serotonin. And I've Googled it, and you can Google it yourself. The facts are that your hormones do affect the way you think and your brain and your mood, very much so. And there's something called menopausal rage. And so that is a Googleable term. You can look it up. And so it just shows you that hormones can affect your mental state. And I would say, because I've seen my dad suffer on antidepressants, and the antidepressants didn't help him. They did F all for him. He was more depressed, I think, at the end on so many antidepressants than I think he would have been off of them. And so I'm not saying that the antidepressants are not the route for some people. They might be, but I've seen bad things with them. And I just think, why not at least try the hormonal route? So putting back in hormones that your body is lacking, because hormones, putting back in what you're lacking is just putting in what you used to have. The side effects are not life-threatening. They're minimal. You know, you can get sore breasts or a little bit of weight gain or water retention or something small like that, maybe a headache here and there. But it's not the kind of side effects that you're going to get with antidepressants, which to me are far worse, and they can actually wreak havoc with your body and your brain chemistry. And so that is my 5 cents. And my story is that I was in the slumps, in the dumps, in the funks. I shudder now to think, but really I was considering at some points, what is the point of me being here? And I'm so glad I'm now on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, And my mental state is really so much better. So instead of waking up now saying, oh, not another day, I wake up with a pretty much like, cool, glad to be here. And if the weather's nice, I'm in a good mood. HRT is not a fix-all for everything in your life. It's not. The irritations are still there. The problems in your life don't just go away. You still have to deal with them. But for me, at least, it's giving me the feeling that I can cope. And I think that's really important. And especially in our 40s, when life is throwing so much at us, we need to be able to cope and function and feel mentally fortified and strong. And it gives you back, or at least in my case, it's given me back that optimistic baseline that I used to have when I was younger. Like I say, I'm not perfect. I have my moments where I still, we all have irritations. We all have stresses in the day. Doesn't take that away. It doesn't mean you're now just like, oh, optimistic all the time. It's not that. But you know what I mean? There's that difference when your brain chemistry is so low that you cannot lift yourself up out. And HRT just might be the helping hand you need. So take it from me. Please watch that Louise Newson podcast about that lady who nearly killed herself. And please do consider what I've said today. I hope that this video truly helps you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.